Welcome to The Beauty Shift, proudly sponsored by Keranique, America's #1 hair regrowth system created by women for women. I'm Michelle Phillips. I'm a celebrity stylist and beauty expert, a national TV personality, and self-confidence coach. And over the years, I've worked with some of the most recognized faces in the world, helping them look and feel their absolute best inside and out. That ultimate inner outer wow. Now that's true beauty, my friends. Welcome to The Beauty Shift. This is the podcast where we go beyond trends, beyond surface beauty, and straight to the heart of what makes us feel truly radiant inside and out. I'm so happy you joined me today. My name is Michelle Phillips, and I am your host. And today we're talking about something that affects millions of women, but it doesn't always get the attention it deserves. We're talking about hair health. We're also going to be talking about hair loss and how it is on the rise for women. I know because this is my story too. I've suffered greatly with hair loss over the past few years, and we're going to talk about how to grow your hair back, how to get your confidence back, and how science is now meeting beauty to combine the two to help us have more beautiful, gorgeous, luxurious, voluminous hair. Who doesn't want that, right? Well, today we're going to have a conversation with someone who knows this industry extremely well. He is both the beauty and the brains behind some of the biggest hair care brands in the world that are helping women and men regrow their natural hair. My guest today is Ian Murphy. He is the CEO of Keranique and a powerhouse in the self-care and beauty world. This conversation is going to be so enlightening as well as a lot of fun. So join me in welcoming Ian Murphy to The Beauty Shift. Welcome to The Beauty Shift, Ian. It's so great to have you here today.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. It's my pleasure. And thank you for the great invitation and the great work you do.
Thank you. I am so grateful to work with you and your amazing team. And we're going to get into more about Keranique in a little while because it has actually transformed my life. And I want to share my story with everyone because I feel like this is a struggle so many women are dealing with when it comes to hair loss. And a lot of women don't talk about it. For men, it's pretty acceptable. Women start losing self-confidence. And so I just love that not only are the Keranique products helping to transform our hair, but also Keranique is very, very strongly committed to helping empower women. And this is a big deal, especially today in the beauty industry. So, but just to kind of give people a background of how you got to where you are today, I would
Mm.
love for you to share your journey in terms of, you're from the UK, you studied at
Mm.
Oxford. Um, yeah, I've done my homework. I mean, just what drew you to the beauty industry?
Well. First of all, I studied near Oxford at De Montfort University, which is an amazing school in the middle of the UK. And in fact, I'm still engaged today with the alumni, helping students realize their potential. And in fact, I'm meeting a couple of alumni in London next month to help them on their next step of their journey in their career. I just think giving back is a big part. And that's really the center of Keranique. It's giving back and, as you said, empowering women with the tools they need. This morning I was talking with Sonia Batra, who, of course, is our dermatologist doctor behind the brand. Talk about empowering women. I mean, she is such a great lighthouse for that. But coming back to your original question, I'm going down a rabbit hole here. Where did I start? Certainly, I was actually thinking I was going to go into the Air Force in England. I was flying planes, had an Air Force scholarship, and but my flying skills were okay. I got to fly solo, but I was like, I don't know if this is going to be a long-term, long life expectancy with my flying skills, but I loved the opportunity. But what I did have was a friend who owned a hair salon. And I had an American passport because my dad was from Pittsburgh, and I thought, I'm going to maybe go and adventure here. And this hairdresser of mine said, you know what, you should go visit Los Angeles. I hear it's like sunny and warm and palm trees and beaches. And I was like, that sounds pretty good compared to the grey and miserable skies in England after a year. And I took off on a whim and managed to meet up with some folks at Redken back in the day. As well, we don't have a job here. They're kind of like, what are you doing here? But anyway, they don't have a job here in California right now, but we have something in the UK. And that's how it began. I was working in the UK for Redken and looking at all these hairdresser folks saying, why do they hug each other every 5 seconds? I'm like, I don't know about this stuff. But anyway, it's a wonderful beauty entree and a great way into the beauty industry. And unfortunately, that company, of course, being American-owned, moved me to the States when they were acquired by L'Oreal and managed to move to New York City. And that's when the next kind of chapter began.
I've been in the beauty industry 30 years.
Mm.
At one time owned a very nice high-end salon, but of course my career is more in television, working with celebrities and such. So I was always on location. But I feel like in the beauty industry, what people don't understand, but maybe they do, but I feel like it kind of gets left out of the equation a lot, is that we come from a place where we really want to help people feel better about themselves. And it does have a direct correlation on how you feel internally to how you look externally. And so I just feel as if whether you're doing someone's hair, doing someone's makeup, helping them with their skin, helping them with their wellness, their mindset, their self-care, all of those things that we support others in improving, it's such a gift because not only do we get to see these wonderful benefits of our work, but it also helps fill our cups, I think, and helps drive us to really want to do this more. And I'm always so incredibly grateful for brands like yours, Keranique, where you are giving back. You are supporting that inner outer connection. It's really important nowadays.
No doubt. And I think from a early point, and like you, I've been around the block in this industry a while. You look better than me, I got to tell you. But
I
I
have
think the thing that
connections.
you I need to find those connections. I think the thing that stuck out to me about this industry, as you kind of touched on, was how heart-centered it is,
Yeah.
and how there is this very unique feeling of unity amongst the beauty community that I don't think you find in other industries.
Mhm.
And there's a warmth there that radiates through everything we do. And I think there's this community, this tribal feeling of helping one another that permeates through everything we do, whether it's innovation, coming up with the latest technology that's going to fight the wrinkles and make us look 10 years younger, or if it's simply creating an educational message that says, you know what, we should go out and wear a hat more often when we're in the sun. So I think there's this real kind of reciprocal relationship with our customers. And that's why when we create something special, I think we enjoy a nice relationship for a number of years. And I think that leads into the uniqueness of Keranique because we are really focused on finding solutions for women at every stage and every age of their journey, their hair journey, so we can maintain the beauty as long as we possibly can.
And so when you say at every stage and every age, it's pretty profound what's happening in the hair health industry and how now there is a tremendous focus on helping women of all ages. 1 in 3 women suffer from hair loss. 10 years ago, it was 1 in 4 women. So 30 million women plus, probably more, are suffering from some type of hair thinning, loss, or breakage. What are the trends that you're seeing and how is that really
Yeah.
shaping your focus?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think as I alluded to, as I mentioned, I think there's almost two buckets that I like to consider here. One is the physiological stages of a woman's progression, and the other are external influences that we get challenged with. So let's look at those for a moment. So first of all, as I mentioned earlier, every stage, every age. Well, if we break those maybe into four categories, We have younger women who want to obviously have great volume and styling support and healthy scalp. And that's an audience right there. And certainly Keranique has some great formulas that are enriched with things like keratin, protein to hold the hair strand strong and create volume and so forth. And then as a woman progresses, as my wife did a number of years ago, into having a child, and when, I mean, she's a Filipina, beautiful Filipina lady with long brown hair, as you can imagine. Her hair's coming out after, our daughter was born, and she's looking at me saying, "Well, can you do something with this?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not a doctor, but we'll see what we can do here, right?" And creating products and education to, as I say, hashtag stop the shed. And I think having support mechanisms for that phase of a woman's life is important. And then, of course, the next phase might be pre-menopause and the changes in hormones and skin and scalp and our balance. Our chemical balance as well can affect, of course, the quality of the hair and the quality of the skin and scalp. So I think it's having products there that can maybe support the nourishment of the scalp and stop the hair getting too brittle too early. And so having products that create suppleness and nourishment for the scalp, like we have this only clinically proven hair regrowth product on the market today, which has helped so many women. And then you move into the more mature market, the fourth bucket, if you like, of again, how do you preserve and retain the hair on your head? And you see so many women that maybe cut their hair short when they get older, when they can have these long, lustrous locks, and it can be manageable and it can be beautiful and all that. So I think that's the physiological side. And then you think about what we've gone through as a human race over the last 5, 10 years. The pandemic caused a lot of stress hair loss. And so we've developed formulas and technologies, even with using artificial intelligence most recently, that can combat that. And then there's that holistic element that you talked about, where we have to supplement ourselves because we don't always get the proper vitamins and nutrients and minerals out of the food today. So having the kerovitamin supplements can really help, again, create the body the best opportunity to have that healthy hair, scalp, and opportunity for healthy hair growth. And that's not, to mention the non-chemical, non-drug hair growth serums we have that can help women out who maybe are going through a chemo situation in life where they can't use a minoxidil-based type of treatment. And so we have a great solution for those folks as well. So I think there are a number of folks who are affected physiologically. We all affected with that, and then we're faced with these external, unpredictable type of experiences where again you can turn to our brand for solutions.
I think a lot of people don't understand that there is a solution and they don't have to hide anymore or style their hair a different way, when they're walking out the door, wearing a hat all the time. My experience was I actually went through a little health challenge. I had to have surgery and I didn't realize that I had lost clumps of hair until I went to my hairstylist and she said, "What's going on here?" I had a patch right here where all this is grown in now, but this was a big chunk of hair here that was gone back here in the crown of my head. And then the other side here, it is all grown back because I started using Keranique in the hair regrowth system. Thank goodness. Like I said, I have connections in the beauty industry. I saw the before and afters, which I would encourage anyone to take a look at on the Keranique website. The before and afters of women after using the Keranique hair regrowth system, because you create a system for women. So it's the shampoo and the conditioner, and it's the styling products that protect the hair you have, as well as your hair regrowth system. I saw the before and afters, and I saw the videos of these women that cried when they saw their hair in 6 months growing back in, and it was their natural hair. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I have to try it. And I did, and I became a huge fan. It changed my life because I really didn't think that there was a solution. I only had known of men's products.
Yes. Yes.
And, you know, some of those products were too strong for me
Mhm.
personally.
Yeah.
I didn't care for them. And so that's why I reached out to you all and said, I'm a huge fan. You know,
Yeah.
I would love to share your products with my followers. And now, you know, working with you all more and more because I am witnessing firsthand young women, women my age, women my mother's age, not only transform their hair, but transform their lives. They feel so much more confident again. And your array of products that support that is just
Mm.
phenomenal.
Mm. Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
to your point, Michelle, you highlighted something very interesting there. When you turn back the clock, if we walk back 20 odd years ago, there were no major solutions for women. It wasn't a subject because social media wasn't that prevalent yet.
Right.
Um, where today, the movement, if you go look at something like hashtag postpartum hair loss and see the millions of views and impressions. So I think the women's movement has become so important and so loud that manufacturers and brands and doctors and chemists and folks like you and I said, listen, we got to do something here. And for a man, because life's all about contrast, as you mentioned, and
Right.
for a man, you can go, to someone like Bosley and get 1,500 graphs as I did 5 years ago or whatever it was. And you could thicken up your hairline, or you can come in the back and feel that monk spot right there.
Oh
if,
yeah.
if you have one,
My
right?
husband's dealing with that. Yeah.
Right, you should call Bosley.
Yeah, I know. I got to get him on Bosley.
Yeah, or hair club. I mean, but those solutions have been out for years for men, right? Bosley started 50 years ago doing this stuff. And for women, again, it's only been the last 20 years that opportunities have come to the surface. And I think one of the biggest issues has been, you can't give a woman a hair transplant a lot of the times because the hair is diffuse. It's thinning. It's not like big, unless it's areola or something like that, as big patches. But so you need something that can get into the scalp and into the follicles and re-energize and nourish and wake up those dormant follicles and bring them back. And those products necessarily were somewhat limited, and like you said, too strong in some cases. The last thing you want as a woman is to have hair growing out of the wrong place. It's looking not so attractive.
Right.
So I think there's been a lot more solutions that have now been made available.
Absolutely. Yeah, to your point, it's like I'm growing hair in places I don't want to. On my head, please, not on my
Right.
mouth and my chin.
No,
What is that?
no, no.
We need to have
Yeah.
a stop growth for that area. But
Yes.
but
Bizarre.
it's true. I feel like so many women, when I'm in my hairstylist chair, I have heard so many conversations of women sharing that they're losing their hair.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Keranique is the solution, but I think women don't understand what the difference is between women's hair regrowth and men's. So the minoxidil in Keranique is a lesser amount, correct?
Yes. So typically, women are cleared to use a 2% minoxidil product when that's in a spray or a liquid form, using
Okay.
twice a day, morning and night. Now, newer products on the marketplace in the foam mousse type of format are the 5%, but it's very clear on the label, only use once a day, right? So they're the two versions out. And then there are, of course, botanical options out on the market that also can be of help.
And that is very exciting because you have that,
Yes.
which is incredible. And I would love to also share with everyone what a clinical study is and why it's clinically proven, how does that make a difference in really showing the efficacy of the ingredients in Keranique or in any other product for that matter?
Yeah, yeah, it's a fantastic question because we often see things on TV, on social media, or in print, and we're like, hmm, what
Yeah.
exactly does that mean? Now, so typically, you see claims around ingredients or claims around a formula, and the formula is the whole kit and caboodle in the bottle, tested on patients. The ingredient claims are this has XYZ ingredient in and has been proven previously to do A, B, and C. Now, if you break those up into two for a second, so let's talk about the ingredient direction first. Now, if there truly are studies that prove that that ingredient works, like in the case of minoxidil, then fair enough. Now, the other key thing is what's the concentration? And sometimes on the label it says, oh, contains biotin, but it might just be some fairy dust. So the question is how far down on the label it is. If it's down the bottom of the label, then you know it's just like a sprinkle. But if it's towards the top, then there's a chance there's a stronger concentration. It's actually doing something. It's an ingredient that's called at an active level. Now, the other way is which costs manufacturers more, but sometimes really does the business. Is when you take the juice that's the whole formula, all the ingredients together in a bottle, and you pick out 50, 100 test subjects. You say, you know what, use this for the next 30, 60, 90 days. And then you take not only photographs over that period of time, but you also do what's called a grading or a density analysis, where you actually take pictures of the scalp and you show the density of the hair improving. There's more hair there. At least it looks like on camera, and they can study that. And then you can build claims that way also. So there's a couple of different ways out there. So when you were looking on the label and looking at the claims, we have to look, is it the ingredient? Is it at the right active level? Or is it the whole product, and what studies and how many? How many test subjects, women, was this tested on? Was it done on half a dozen or was it done on 100? And I know which one I'd like to trust more.
And that makes a lot of sense because when you were even talking about ingredients, I think a lot of times we're taught to look for certain ingredients, but how do
Mm.
you know the efficacy of those ingredients in the products that you're purchasing? So look for those important ingredients to be at the top of the list on the ingredients. Okay, that's good
Yeah.
to know. And secondly, I just want to take a quick moment to thank our amazing sponsor, Keranique, the go-to brand for women's hair growth solutions. If you're looking for healthier, thicker, more beautiful hair, no matter what hair concerns you have, Keranique has got you covered. Their products are clinically proven and dermatologist recommended, offering a complete hair care system, including treatments, shampoos, conditioners, and supplements to help you achieve stronger, fuller looking hair from the inside out. So whether you're starting your hair growth journey or maintaining gorgeous, healthy locks, Keranique has a solution for you. And as a Beauty Shift listener, you get 25% off site-wide. All you have to do is head over to shop.keranique.com and use the promo code BeautyShift25 at checkout. Thanks again, Keranique, for supporting the Beauty Shift and helping women everywhere feel confident and beautiful. So now let's get back to the show. When products cost more, does that mean they're better in ingredients,
Mm.
or is that kind of a myth?
Wow, I'll tell you what, that one's come up a few times over the years because even when, I've been asked by folks, because I've worked for companies like Redken and Wella, and people say, why is that shampoo costing $25 when I can go into the drugstore and get one for $5?
Mhm.
And it does many times. It comes down to the quality of the ingredients. There's no doubt about it. I go to the lab and see our products being formulated, and I sit with the chemist and say, well, why are you charging me, this amount of money for that formula? Like, well, that's the quality of the ingredients. There are different grades of surfactants that help cleanse our hair. There are different grades of things like biotin, natural ingredients that can help strengthen our hair. And so many times the price of those formulas does directly impact the cost of what we have to buy them at as consumers. Again, I think the best thing to do is look for claims, and even now we have the power of social media. We can go and look at what influencers are doing in this UGC world. User generated content that gives some credibility and some integrity behind our decision making.
In terms of those ingredients, sometimes isn't it the molecular structure? So that way, I've been told in the past that if the molecular structure isn't quite so with certain ingredients, then they actually won't even penetrate or be actively useful. Is that correct?
It can be, and going back into the past, it's a memory walk down memory lane here. There were brands out in the past that talked about the size of proteins and amino acids. There was also companies that would talk about the weight, molecular weight, to your point, of certain amino acids and proteins, and then having other ingredients like carrier ingredients that can help maybe drag ingredients into the hair. For years, Redken, I remember back in the day, would talk about the polarity and the pH of the products, and saying, well, look, if the pH of hair is around 6 or 7, or even a little bit below that, slightly acidic, then if you had certain products that would help open up the hair shaft, then you could get product in, and that's where things like hair coloring and permanent waves would work, by changing the pH of the hair and being able to bend and shape the hair that way. There was some amazing leave-in treatments that I was lucky to work on when I was at Redken years ago, that would have maybe a slightly higher pH, which would bring down the hair shaft, the outside of the hair shaft, and smooth it. So it would shut down the cuticle, making it soft and shiny. And so there are a number of different aspects to how we can work with the hair, but essentially, that we don't want to hear it. Most of the hair, of course, is somewhat dead, right? You're playing with a material almost like a piece of clothing. And how do you make it soft? How do you make it smooth? How do you make it manageable? And that's really where the art is.
Yeah, so much that goes into behind the scenes that we're not even aware of. I also would love to touch on clean beauty, because this is another big one, big topic here in the beauty industry. I know in the EU, over 1,400 ingredients are not allowed. They're banned from any cosmetic products. Whereas here in the United States, this may have changed since I looked up
Mm,
the numbers, but I think it's 11 ingredients are actually
mm,
banned.
mm.
However, I do see, in the beauty industry, brands are just taking it upon themselves to say no to the ingredients that are harmful, and the consumer is demanding it. So I know that at Keranique, you're extremely conscientious
Yeah.
of clean beauty. What is your viewpoint in terms of how our industry is going more and more in that direction?
Yeah, yeah, great discussion point there. A lot of these ingredients that are banned do a fantastic job on the hair and skin. They really do.
Well,
And then
yeah,
right,
it's true.
yeah, and so it's a balance. It's a balance, I think, where we trust brands, we trust labs to give us formulas that we can put on the skin and hair that are not detrimental to ourselves, to our well-being. And let's face it, us as a human race have been, really only playing with modern formulas for the last 30, 40, 50 years. And so we've learned a lot of things along the way. Look at what's happened with sulfates and MEA, DEA, these types of grids, phthalates have all been thrown out for the most part. Certainly, there is, I think, a much more of a cautious eye in the EU and Asia, for that matter, as well. Um, so, a lot of products are mainly sold in pharmacies in EU and in Asia, where you can get them pretty much everywhere here. So certainly, there's no hiding place anymore with the power of social media.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
again, I think it comes down to a balance. I think it comes down to also not just relying on the brands. I think one of our great retailers out in America today, Ulta Beauty's done a really great leadership role, played a great role in creating conscious beauty and
Mm.
saying, hey, if you want to be considered in our elite group of brands, here are some boxes you need to check, whether it's formula, whether it's recyclable packaging, and some other elements to that mix as well. So I think we're all striving to get to a better place from both ingredient, packaging, energy, renewables. It's not easy because when you change certain ingredients and packaging, the cost goes up.
Right.
And the last thing we want is for some of our favorite products to go away because the company can't afford to pay its bills anymore because the formulas and packaging costs too much. So I think, like anything, it comes down to a balance, but at the same time, having leaders in beauty that have a conscience about what they're putting out on the market.
Yes, and as consumers, really doing our homework to look into the ingredients and also, I mean, combine that with the clinical studies like you were talking about, because we're just so inundated with so many products and so much information. I think the biggest question I get from women is what works? What doesn't
Yeah.
work? I find a lot of people using way too many products for skin, for example. I think in hair care, it's not as much of an issue, but in skincare, I feel like that
Oh, yeah.
we
No
really need
doubt.
to, yeah, women are using their faces as science experiments because they're taking the advice of what anybody that they see on social media that
It's
says, try
true. It's
this and do
true.
that.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
look
like,
into my
ah,
wife's medicine cabinet, and I'm thinking, well, I probably use about 3 to 4 products myself, and there are dozens in there, and I'm thinking, is she in a test situation or seeing what works the best? And that's before we get to the cosmetic side of
yeah.
things, right? So yeah, yeah, you're right.
It's true. We're always searching for that next thing that's going to make us look better. But I do always caution people because after 30 years working in this business, not only in hair, but skin, and I just feel that we're using too much. And sometimes that can make our skin more sensitive and maybe not,
Mm,
could do some damage. And
mm.
that is why I feel in the hair care industry, bringing it back to Keranique and what you've created with your team, having an actual system. So it's goof proof. That's one of my favorite sayings. I like goof proof
Good
beauty.
proof. I'm going to
Show
write
me
that
how to
down.
do this easy, simply. Because I
Yeah,
feel like we're all overwhelmed and we just want to know step one, step two, step three, let's go.
right.
We
And I
don't
think
have
that's
that
why
much
that's
time.
yeah, and that's why that system works so well. But look, and you go back to the basics of this. We got to get the junk off the scalp so the follicles don't get clogged. Because if they get clogged, they don't grow. And then at the same time, we got this nasty little substance called DHT, dihydrotestosterone, which is the enemy of the follicle, which make it shrink and basically die off prematurely. And it happens more to men typically. So it's getting rid of that thing off the scalp, and then providing the scalp the proper environment for nourishment and for growth potential, and providing those follicles with those priming ingredients, followed by a clinically proven regrowth product, which of course we do have here at Keranique, the only FDA clinically proven ingredient to regrow the hair and to stop the shed. And then, of course, we all like the cosmetic finish of having styling products that can create volume and fullness and texture. And I love the foam that we have in the Keranic line. That mousse is absolutely sensational. I've seen a lot
Yes,
of these types of leave-in treatments before, but that product is great.
it's
And
fantastic.
it really is wonderful. So it's that combo of having those types of products together, like you said, in a goof-proof box, ready to go, And because in the morning it's like, okay, just point me in a direction, and then
And there
right.
we go. And that's it. Step one, two, and three, which I always try to share it very simply on HSM, but it's also that wow now factor
Yeah.
that Keranique offers because just using the shampoo, conditioner, and the lift and repair, which actually gives you volume and protects your hair from heat damage, it
Right.
like I think it's 168% increase in volume
Mm,
density
mm,
and the look of thickness of your hair after one application. And while you're growing your hair back with the hair regrowth treatment, the mousse you mentioned, the foam,
yeah. Yeah.
um, you can get your confidence back immediately by just having more volume and density and thickness in your hair after one use. So it's
Yeah.
it's it's
Yeah.
an addiction for me.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned something there which it seems to run a parallel with skincare and with wellness in general. We want to have two things. We want to have an instant wow, but also have some kind of substantive, excuse me, longer measurable results, right? So you
Right.
want to see something today. So this could be skincare where you suddenly put on a wrinkle eraser and you're like, oh, that's great. But you want to have something that is also going to stop the wrinkles getting worse. And it's the same with hair. We want to
Yes.
have something that bumps up the hair, but at the same time, maybe protects the follicles and nourishes them. So you're doing like almost like a two-in-one result you're getting out of your beauty products, which I think is really where the treasure and the gold lies.
Absolutely, because we're an instant gratification society, number one. Number two,
Mm,
when you're losing your hair, the number one thing you're worried about is not getting that volume or that thicker look. While, if your hair's been falling out, you want to have something to make you feel better in the
yeah.
in the interim. So I love that. And I know I don't want to keep you too much longer. You are getting ready to go away for 2 weeks. I know you're going to Italy for
Oh
the
my God, yeah.
Cosmoprof show.
So it's the
Oh gosh, if
biggest
you need
beauty
me
show in
next
the world.
year.
Yeah, you should. Maybe we'll put something together where
Yeah.
folks, or we can put like a little couple studio chairs, and we can do some kind of live things where groups come around and listen to you, maybe interview our trichologist, Colleen
Oh, I
Camp,
love
and
that.
wouldn't that be sensational? And then
I
we'll
would
we'll get
love it.
someone else and translate it into Italian. But Cosmoprof, of course, is the biggest beauty show in the world. 248,000 folks go through the doors there over
Oh,
4 days, and we have a terrific Keranique show platform that we put together this year. It's going to be amazing.
wow.
We're looking forward to continuing to spread this good news story about women's hair solutions to countries all around the world. And it starts right there at the Mecca, the center of beauty, Bologna,
Yeah.
Italy, as well as the good food and wine, of
I
course.
know. I'm from Verona, Italy, my family. So I
Ah,
grew up in Verona, Vicenza, Roma, and Florence. And so I love it there. It's like a second home. I don't speak the language fluently, but I do understand.
yeah,
I
ciao
speak a little,
bella.
un petit. But yeah,
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
blast. But yes, I'd love to join you anytime. Hopefully, you'll be in Vegas too, because I know a lot of my friends and followers are in the industry, in the beauty industry, and will be at Cosmoprof in Vegas
Mhm.
in June. So have a
Yep.
wonderful time. And I really do want to thank you so much for all you do to empower women because this is a big deal. This is, I mean, for me, I tour and I share self-confidence with women and teach women that it's okay. You can put on your lipstick and do your hair, but if you don't feel good inside, nothing
Right.
else matters. And so I really want to say thank you again for not only sponsoring the Beauty Shift, but also in your mission to really help empower women of all
Yes.
ages. You're very sincere
No.
about that, and it's a big
Mhm.
part of who you are. And everything starts from the top down. And I see that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As my wife would say, mabuhay, which means have a great life, a long life, enjoyable life. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Michelle, for your support. We really appreciate
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. And you have a wonderful time in Italy. Take lots of pictures. I want to see.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. I hope this conversation has given you new insights into the beauty industry, the science of hair health, and most importantly, the power of feeling confident in your own skin. And don't forget to go to my website, michellephillips.com, where you will find so many resources on beauty, health, and wellness, as well as some free downloads. So don't miss out, michellephillips.com. And if you love this episode today, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a review. I am grateful for you. Thank you for taking your time out of your day today to join us. I'll see you next time on The Beauty Shift. Thank you so much for joining us today on The Beauty Shift. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Keranique, America's #1 hair regrowth system created by women for women. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please feel free to share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you'd like to receive my free beauty and wellness gifts, just go to my website, michellephillips.com. I also invite you to join my social media community on Facebook and Instagram, Michelle Phillips Beauty.